Good morning and welcome to this episode of Hunt's Corner Hunter. Today this will be part 3 of our How to Turkey Hunt series, and we're going to focus on some of the other gear that I think should be part of your turkey kit. First thing I think you're going to want is a turkey vest, kind of like this one. This one's made by Old Top. I just bought this one a couple of days ago. We're going to try it out this year. It's got all kinds of pockets on it, and we'll give it a go and see how we like it. One thing I will say about turkey vests is that most of them come with more pockets than you need, and the tendency is to want to try to put something into every single pocket, and that's not necessarily. Don't weight yourself down with more stuff than what you really need. So that's our turkey vest. In the truck, I keep some bug spray. This is good stuff. I keep a can in my truck all the time, and when I leave the truck every morning, I'll put this on, and then I just leave this in the pickup. Because it's spring, there's going to be some days when you get out there and it's wet, it's raining. So I always keep a rain jacket, a camouflage rain jacket in my truck as well. Most of the time it stays in the truck, I don't get it out, but if I get out in the woods that morning and it's raining or it's going to rain, I take my rain jacket with me. Don't let rain keep you out of the woods, because a lot of times it'll rain for an hour, maybe two, the rain will quit, and when the rain quits, the turkeys will come out in the fields to dry off and feed. So don't let a little rain keep you out. Decoys are popular with most folks. Most folks carry decoys, and I've got a couple here. These are some foam ones I've had for many years. These will stay in the truck too, because I don't use decoys that much. Not saying that I'm opposed to decoys, I just find that I don't use them that often. I have used them in the past and had a lot of success with them, but for every time they've been of value to me, there's probably been 5 times when they either just sat in my vest or they created a problem. I think in certain limited circumstances they're okay. For example, if you know that you are hunting a dominant bird in a particular area, in that case, a jake and a hen decoy might be enough to set him off and bring him in. But you don't always know that. And I've had decoys out and had mature birds see them and either hang up and refuse to come any closer or get suspicious and leave. So I do have them, but most of the time they're going to stay in the truck, and if I think I'm going to use them, I'll take them out then. Of course, we've got our bug tamer jacket that stays with us, and we'll put that on when we leave the truck. Some of the other gear that I keep in my vest, I keep a Thermacell. This is probably the greatest turkey hunting invention there ever has been, because this enables you to stay out there no matter how bad the mosquitoes get. And it's hard to sit still in the woods when mosquitoes are all over you. So even though I wear a mosquito jacket, even though I put on bug spray, I still take the Thermacell with you. And no mosquito will come within 15 feet of you. I keep lots of the extra little packets stuck here in this little holster, and I've got 2 additional butane cartridges in here so that I don't run out. Because if you run out, the thing's going to do you no good. So have you some refills handy. I take some clippers with me in my vest too, and these are useful for if you've got time to set up. Maybe you're going to set up on a spot and stay there for a while and try to work a bird or call a passing bird in. You can use these. They're not that heavy, and you can trim up any vines or limbs that might be in your way. I find that I use those all the time. I also have a multi-tool on my belt that has a saw blade, and anything that can't be cut with those, I'll use this little saw blade and saw it out of the way. And that's really useful, like on woody vines or stuff like that. Sometimes a woody vine is hanging right where you want to swing your gun barrel, and you can take that and just saw it up in a couple of minutes, and it's out of your way. I hunt all day, so I keep a bottle of water that stays in my vest, and most of the time I'll have a packet of crackers or a little can of Vienna sausage, something like that for a snack. I don't usually eat breakfast when I turkey hunt, and I may stay out there all day. So being able to stop and sit down in a little quiet place and have a bite to eat and drink some water and just listen. Sometimes you can just sit down, eat a snack, and listen, and maybe your turkey will gobble. Maybe something will happen. So take you some food with you. Of course, we got our gloves and our face masks, and I'll put those in my vest. I've got some chalk and some Scotch-Brite, and that stays in my vest. I'll use that. The chalk's for conditioning my box call, and the Scotch-Brite pad this is not a whole pad, this is one I trimmed. That's for working on slate calls. And finally, I am a big believer in having binoculars. And this is an FHF gear bino harness, and I keep binoculars in it, and I wear this all the time. It's also got a pocket for my cell phone, and it's got a rangefinder in it. And I am a firm believer in using binoculars for turkey hunting. Even though you're going to spend a lot of time in the woods, most of us in the South, there are some fields we hunt around, and I believe that you never walk into a field without having taken your binoculars and searched every inch of that field before you walk out there. A lot of times when you approach a field, you're coming through the woods, there's a field ahead. If you'll don't just walk out into the field, hang back into the woods and use your binoculars and search the edge of that field. Look out there in the middle of that field. Take your time. Don't just rush out there. I used to do that, and I can't tell you how many times I bust a bird doing that. You'd walk out there, oh crap, there's a bird right there. No, slow down, search the edge of the field, especially the shady side. If it's on up in the day and it starts getting warm, a lot of times turkeys will hang out in the shady side of that field. And you can't see them over there in the shade. So get your binoculars, take your time, look carefully. Look out there, if there's high grass, look through the high grass for a minute. Sometimes you'll see, every now and then, that turkey's head will come up. Watch, look, it'll keep you from getting busted. I like to have a rangefinder because I have made errors in range before. So with a rangefinder, this is my bino harness kit that I use all the time. This is for not just turkey hunting, but for deer hunting or anything else. So this just stays with me, and I find the rangefinder is a good thing to have. The other thing that always stays in this bino harness is a diaphragm call. And this is the one that I use more than anything else, and it stays tucked in here, even if I'm not turkey hunting. Because what a lot of people don't realize, and this is something I learned from Randy Newberg, is you can do a lot with a diaphragm call. You can not only do turkey calls, you can do elk calls, you can do wounded rabbit calls, you can even sound like a wounded dog or a hurt coyote. So having a mouth diaphragm in your bino harness at all times is a good idea. There's a few other things in here. There's a lens cloth that I use on my binoculars, and I also keep a headlamp in my bino harness at all times. I don't usually use the headlamp when I'm walking in, but sometimes if you're coming out late, maybe you put a turkey to bed, I'll turn on that green lens and use that on my way out. That's just some of the gear that I use. That's most of the gear that I use. I'm not a big gear guy. I don't carry a lot of stuff in my turkey vest. I don't carry a lot of calls in my turkey vest. The more stuff you put in a turkey vest, the more likely that you're going to have stuff bump and rattle and bounce around and make all kinds of noise. Plus, it just gets heavy. When I started off and I didn't have a lot of calls, I'd take every call, every piece of gear I had, and put it in that turkey vest. I don't do that anymore. You don't use a lot of it, and it ends up being just extra weight. If you want to carry some extra stuff, leave it in the truck. If you need it, you can get it out. But most of the time, it's just going to be dead weight you're carrying around. I think it's very important to streamline your gear. Figure out what are you going to use. Not what you think you're going to use, but what are you actually going to use. Put that in your vest, and that's what you carry. If you have other things that you're not sure about, leave them in the truck. You can always walk back and get it. Or if you think you're going to need it on a particular day, you've got it. Like the rain jacket. I don't carry the rain jacket all the time because it doesn't rain all the time. But I never know when it's going to rain, so I keep it in the truck. If I have it, I need it. That's all the gear that we're going to go over today. We'll talk about calls and different types of calls and calling turkeys in our next video. I hope this was of some help to you. If you like this series or you like the channel, please hit that like button, subscribe, ring that notification bell. You'll get alerted when the next video drops. And I thank you guys for watching.